The fight for equal pay has galvanised much of the world.
Is an unbelievably bad idea.
But according to controversial Canadian sociologist and psychologist Jordan Peterson, it's a fight not worth having.
In my estimation, not only is it not reasonable, it's absolutely deadly. I think there's nothing that we could possibly do that's more ill-advised.
Well, why is it deadly? I mean, deadly is a very strong word.
It's been tried. It was tried throughout the 20th century to enforce equity outcomes, all through the communist bloc. That was the fundamental idea, to enforce equity outcomes. It didn't work well. It worked very badly.
The gender pay gap is most obvious when comparing sectors of the workforce. Compare low-paying female-dominated industries like childcare and teaching with high-flying male-dominated corporate jobs like finance and IT, and the divide seems insurmountable. Not so in Iceland, which plans to tackle and overcome that gaping difference too. Jordan Peterson, who claims professionally women are generally more interested in people and men in things, says closing the pay gap is too hard to even try. Why is an interest in people valued as highly as an interest in things? And why is agreeability not valued as well as assertiveness?
Well, it's a good question. It also depends on what you mean by valued, right? You mean the economic price that's put on it.
Absolutely, in terms of salaries.
Yeah, well, the thing about working with people, it's not easily scalable, right? Whereas working with things, man, that's scalable, right? I mean, if you write a computer program, you write a piece of software, like 1 billion people can use it. That's scalable. You're not going to have 1 billion human interactions in a day. So that's a big part of the problem.
What is your view, the one held by Dr. Peterson, that it's too complicated and the economic consequences are too dire to tackle this?
Why would you not tackle a problem because it's too complicated? I think that's a nonsense. Just because an issue is complicated does not mean that we sit back and accept it as the status quo.
It's not like I'm happy about this, by the way. You know what I mean? It's not like I was hoping this would be the case and like I went and had a little ideology party about it. No one's happy about the fact that these differences between men and women happen to be intractable and that they produce often negative economic consequences.
Do you think that people's differences should be valued? Let's have a look at what you produce. Let's have a look at your outcomes and base it on that as opposed to your ability to negotiate at the contract stage.
Oh, well, you know, an intelligent company is going to do everything they can to evaluate their people on competence and reward them accordingly, right? I mean,
as opposed to whether they're agreeable or assertive?
Or extroverted or attractive. If you're extroverted and attractive, you're going to make more money. But that doesn't mean you're going to be better at what you do. It means there's a halo effect around you because you're attractive. People will value what you do more. It's like, you can't say that just because there's a difference between men and women on axis A, that the reason there's a difference is because they're men and women. You can't do that. It's elementary social science. You'd fail your first year psychology project if you set up an experiment like that.
Well, you know, perhaps those in power in Iceland will fail that course because they say that there is an unconscious bias, that there is an unconscious bias towards paying men more.
The unconscious bias literature is absolutely dreadful.
Well, the approach in Iceland seems to be, yes, there are myriad problems, but we're going to find a way to solve them.
Yeah, no, you're not. It's too complicated.
How long do you give them?
Until the project fails. I would say that'll probably take 15 years. It'll produce walloping economic costs. Because it's not possible to solve a multivariate problem like that. It's technically impossible.